Hello, good morning. It's Tracy Daviero with your VA Mentor back with you for another live. I'm planning to get these done more regularly. I know I said that last time. I was planning on starting them back in September weekly again, but I finally have my new VA on board, and that is a very good thing because it means that she will help me get all the things done that I need to get done every week. And one of those things is being here with you. So I welcome you and looking forward to sharing my tips and wisdom and expertise and information about the VA industry with you. So I wrote a blog post this morning and decided that this is what I was going to talk to you guys about. We're talking about documentation, business procedures. We call it our standard operating procedures and that kind of thing. And so a lot of VAs don't really understand the reason that this is such an important thing to do from the beginning of your business, or if you've already begun your business, now is your beginning, right? To start it right away. One of the things that is important is that you detail all the procedures that you do, because first of all, it helps you it helps you be more organized, right? You can free up your brain power. You don't have to think about the things that, the steps that have to be done. A lot of the things, when you start to detail your procedures, actually, you'll see this. There are many, many steps that are involved in doing things that you probably find quite natural. If you are, for instance, checking a client's email account, or managing some scheduling, or corresponding with a client, or working on a website, or sending out their newsletter, whatever it is that you're doing for your clients to support them, there are many, many, many steps. And so it can be very helpful to write those things down. And there's a few reasons why. I had 5 in my blog post article. I'm not quite sure how many I'll talk about here, but I'm going to talk about, we'll say 3. First thing it does is it helps you to establish your billable rate. So if you can write down all those steps, and so, well, first of all, I'll backtrack just a moment here to say that when you start to document your procedures, just start with one task that you're doing right now. And usually what I do, the simplest way I do, is I open Notepad. I use a PC, so I open Notepad. You could open a document, whatever you like. And I just start to type in the steps. So this one time that you do something, it's going to take you a tiny bit of extra time because you are actually documenting the procedure at the same time. But that's what I do. I go through all of the steps. I say, open the program, click on this, go to here, go to here. So I walk through the whole process, and I go into my Notepad, which is open obviously on my screen, and I type into that what it is that I'm doing or that I have done. So what you'll see then is you'll have that procedure documented, but also you can assess a billable time to it. So you can say this particular task takes a half an hour on a regular basis. Now, of course, the documenting procedure aside, you do want to have some idea of how long everything's going to take you to do. When I was working with my VA clients, I could tell them without question that I could do their newsletter in 1 hour based on the fact that they provided these pieces to me. Now, if I needed to, design an image for them, if I needed to find affiliate links and that kind of thing, when they provided me all of the content, I could put it together in their chosen system, do all the tests, do all the formatting, check it out, make sure all the links worked, and make sure that they approved it, and then get it back and get it sent out within an hour. So I knew without question that I could charge a client an hour of my time for a newsletter. And what that helped me do was it helped me determine a task price for that. So that meant that if a client needed 4 newsletters in the course of a month, that I could actually assign a dollar value to that. Instead of saying I'm going to work 4 hours and provide you with 4 newsletters, I would say my newsletter rate is this. And what at the time my rate was $50 an hour. So I would say, a newsletter costs you $50 every time you do it. So we got away from the billing by the hour thing. I was very clear on my billable rate. I knew how much it was for me. I didn't need to convey that to the client anymore because I had worked out all of my tasks. I knew exactly how much time it would take me to do them, and therefore what I could charge the client for them. So that's really important. It can really help you with your billable rate because then you have a billable time for your task when it's all written out. Really awesome reason to do that. Obviously, we look at things like getting help when you need it. If you're going to bring on subcontractors, or if you're just going to take time off in your business and you want to be able to leave your procedures with somebody so that you know that they're doing things right, or they're doing things the way you do them, then it's already done. You can take your time off anytime you need to. So that's why I say it's important to start doing it now with every task that you have, and just start to build that little library of things that you want to do. The other piece I mentioned was bringing on subcontractors. When we bring people into our business, we want to know sometimes that they have the experience. So say, want somebody who works with Aweber or MailerLite or whatever it is that people are using for emails these days. But you don't want them to skip steps that you have as part of your procedure. So you want to be able to provide them with that procedure document so that you know that they're following your routine and your regimen. And the other thing that does is it helps them with their billable time. So if you know that they're going through your procedure in the steps that you've sent them, you know that they should be taking the same amount of time to do something that you take to do it, right? It's very important to be able to look at that in terms of billing. If you're going to bill a client an hour to do a newsletter, you want to make sure that your sub is following the same procedure and not taking more than an hour to do it either, because then you're losing your profit if the sub takes more time in the middle. This is getting really detailed, I know, but it's really important to identify that helps in that case as well. And what was the last piece that I wanted to talk to you about? Yeah, it sets standards in your business. That's kind of the biggest point, is that you want things to be done in a particular way. You want to make sure that, I know that for an example, like with blogs, I know for a long time, my VA was not adding any SEO to my blogs, and she wasn't checking for the things that, I needed there to be. She wasn't tagging things in the same way that I would tag them. It didn't mean that she was doing anything wrong, because I hadn't asked her to do that kind of thing, but it's not stuff that I was, I wasn't dictating it to her. I wasn't telling her what was important for me to have. And of course I had to learn that SEO was very important, and that's why we weren't doing it. But then whenever I started to recognize that was a really important thing to do, and choosing your categories and choosing your tags and, formatting blog posts properly and that kind of thing, once I knew all of that stuff and how important it was, then that went into my procedures, and that was what then was pushed onto my VA, so that she could actually go, yes, I did this, and I did this. And then there's a communication that gets opened as well. If something doesn't make sense, you didn't give me, the categories don't sound right, or would this be a better category for this particular for this particular post, whatever it is. So there's really important things that when you're doing something in your business, you want to be doing them right. You want everybody associated to be doing them right, and business procedures can really be helpful with that. So I hope that gives you some sense of why starting your SOP manual is very important from the get-go. And like I say, if you haven't got one started yet, it's really easy just to start getting going and open a folder on your computer, fill it with a whole bunch of individual documents for each thing that you do, and it'll be easy to manage that moving forward. I hope that helps. Take care. We'll see you next week.